The first podcast we did, Toughest Man in the North, did 123,000 views. But you did say to me this will be the last podcast you do for a while.
Yeah.
Obviously you don't know what I'm going to say. The first one is, you're not even the hardest in boro, never mind the North.
I've been hit with bats, I've been hit with hammers, I've been punched on the sneak, I've been bottled.
Who do you think are the hardest men?
Either way, I was always going to be a drug addict. Either way, my life was going to decline. My health, my physical stance, the way I was looking, was always going to decline because of drugs. They either die or they change.
Someone said, biggest grass in the North. Ask anybody.
Instead of having this back and forth, let's meet up and let's fight. You know, I'm getting a bit of stick after now saying that, you know, crackhead, or, you know, oh, you done that scumbag, robbing people, or you rat, and you this, you that. You know, I neglected my kids. I stepped over my kids to get what I needed, to get a line of or to get a pipe from my bottom of my heart, and I mean this, you know, I am so sorry. You know, I wish I never did that. That's the type of shit I obsess around that causes me not to want to be here no more. You know, so I wish I never did that.
I know personally I've had messages since that last podcast saying that you've actually saved their life. So today we are joined by Paul Venis. Paul, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for inviting us down to your beautiful home. It's unbelievable down here.
Thank you, mate.
The first podcast we did, Toughest Man in the North, did 123,000 views. And it absolutely got a load of comment. People clearly loved it. But obviously on the other side, I want to talk about some of the comments that you did get, because I think a lot of people talk crap on podcasts. A lot of people try and call people out and say certain things. And I think it's important for us, when we're putting this podcast out, to try and address some of the comments we've had.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't know what I'm going to say. So I've got a few here on my phone. And
yeah.
The first one is, you're not even the hardest in boro, never mind the North.
I'm not even the hardest in my own house. Never mind borough. You know, do you know what it is, mate? It's like, maybe the old Paul Venis would have been offended by something like that. You know, I would have been, you know, my reputation and my ego would have absolutely allowed me not to be bothered by that. I'd have been walking away thinking, yeah. See, today, like, the people who want to be the artist in their town are living in fantasy land. You know, it's not real. It's not a real world to be in. You know, I remember people always say to me, there's always someone bigger than that around the corner. I think, where, show me him. You know, when now I think, no, there's always someone bigger than that in every single fucking fighting gym. Every single, you know, I think I said it on the last podcast, you know, walking into a professional mixed martial arts gym or boxing gym or K1 gym or Muay Thai gym and seeing these guys who are, you know, morally intact, dedicated, humble, you know, nothing to prove, no ego, no nothing running through their veins, but yet will kick your ass in an instant. They'll shake your hand, they'll give you a smile, give you the wink, glove you up and then punch your head in. You know, these guys were like normal scaffolders, bricklayers, just quiet family men, you know, who were just were good at their hobbies. You know, I thought I was a tough man until I walked into impact martial arts. You know, that's when I quickly found out that, you know, I'm nowhere near the hardest in this fucking town. You know, not that I wanted to be at this moment in time. You know, by the time I found myself walking into a mixed martial arts gym, you know, it was because I was destined to change. I was destined for structure. I was destined to, you know, not to be who I once was before prisons and stuff like that. You know, and I always, you know what, I don't mind mentioning his name as well. You know, Andrew Gibson. I've known Andrew since we've been kids. You know, just a scaffolder, normal kid. You know, and I love this lad to bits. You know, I've learnt a lot from him. You know, but in my eyes, he was just a daft kickboxer. You know, wasn't a fighter like me, just a daft kickboxer. You know, and I remember walking into Impact Martial Arts, and it said above the door as well, egos left at the door. And I thought, that's strange. You know, so I goes in, and I spends a couple of days in there, and the next thing you know, I turns up and Andrew was fighting. He says, sorry, he says, do you want to have a few rounds? I was like, yeah, all right, Tom. Okay. And he kicked me all over, punched me from pillar to post. Couldn't lay a glove on him, couldn't touch him. You know, found myself getting a little bit angry. He was just smiling at me. Pop, pop, kick, swiping on the deck. Just toyed with me, absolutely toyed with me. And I was like, wow, you know, that was a bit of an eye-opener. You know, this guy's just from my town, known him since he'd been young, not even considered like a hard kid. You know, that's when I quickly learned, you know, being out on them streets is a total different thing. It means nothing.
Do you get, when you get these comments on YouTube and that, Paul, do you get like Does it bother you at all? Because I think a lot of people who are keyboard warriors and they've got nothing else going on, I totally understand. I mean, someone said, I think I mentioned before the podcast, someone said that I'd nicked me last T-shirt off Jimmy Savile or something. And like, you just got to laugh at these things, right? But at the same time, do you think that they believe they're getting to you when they're saying them things?
Of course they do, otherwise they wouldn't do it. You know, I made the mistake early days in my social media journey, you know, not that I'm a big social media guru or anything, but you know, when I first started to earn off social media, it became a little bit of an obsession. You know, when I first got my paid off YouTube, which was about 50 quid, 60 quid, I thought, oh, getting paid here, money for nothing, boom, boom, and I become obsessed with it, putting content out, making videos. You know, then I started to think, no one's got any reason to dislike me. I'm changed. You know, I'm not hurting no one. I'm being honest. You know, no one can expose me because I've already exposed myself here on podcasts and, you know, told you that I was a wretch to society. I've told you that I was a scumbag. I robbed, I stole, I begged. You know, I've told you what I was. No one can do anything to me. No one can hurt me. No one can bother me. But then soon as someone go, the size of your chin, you know, look at the size of your head, and I'm thinking, do you know what I mean? And I thought, fucking talking to. Then I'm like, whoa, you talking to me? Do you know? And I failed miserably in my early days of social media. It took me about a year to understand that. You know what, Paul? Like, these people don't even know you, and they're going to attack you. You know, like, it is what it is.
Because I know you mentioned it, didn't you? I think you actually said it on a YouTube video. I think a lot of people don't understand, like, even when you're actually putting content out there, like, I titled it as Toughest Man in the Northeast, or the Toughest Man in the North. I can't remember what it was, but it brought a lot of attention. Now, obviously, I know you're not the toughest man in the Northeast. You never said you were.
No.
And I think, because I remember you actually addressing this, and I did a podcast, look, I'm not the toughest man in the Northeast, but people have got to understand that there's got to be, when you're delivering a podcast, there's got to be a way to bring in attention.
Of course. It's clickbait, isn't it? It's clickbait. It's clickbait. It's fine. 100%. Like, there's different types, two different types of clickbait, you know.
What's happening, guys? I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. If you are, please hit that like, hit the subscribe button, and press the notification bell so you don't miss another episode.
There's people can draw you in by lying in the title, which ours is not, because, you know, as a fighting man, titles that I've owned and all, and the way I've lived my life, you know, one of the hardest men in the Northeast or hardest man in the Northeast, people can consider you that. You know, that's not for me to say that I'm the hardest man in the Northeast. You know, there was once upon a time in my life where, you know, Lee Duffy was my hero, you know, and he was considered the hardest man in Middlesbrough, the hardest man in the North East, hardest man in the UK at one point, you know, and I thought, that's going to be me. That's where I want to be, 14, 15-year-old, and I'm looking up to that type of stuff. So that was my journey. That was my plan, to be well known and be the hardest man in Middlesbrough. You know, I never got there. You know, there's loads of names in Middlesbrough that could have held their own against me, if not beat me. Do you know what I mean? Like professional boxers, professional fighters, MMA lads. You know, lads who I knew who were building a reputation for themselves. You know, it was just, it's a different type of journey to be on, to think that you're going to get to that point. But that title is never for you. You know, no one can ever, you can never be a self-proclaimed hard man. You know, I can be a self-proclaimed fighter. You know, I'll tell you now, you know, like, there's not a man walking this planet I wouldn't fight for a decent pay, and I wouldn't, like, back myself. I would never take a fight I don't think I could win. It's just stupidity, innit? You know, unless they're offering me £1 million or whatever, I'd fight Joshua in the boxing ring. But that's not the point. You know, you've got to back yourself as a fighter. That's why I train. That's why I do what I do. But that title's not for you to give yourself. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? You know, no one can say he's the hardest man in the North East. That's if, you know, I always remember being in kitchens, or, you know, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're all whiffed up and or whatever, and people are saying, who do you think's the hardest? Who do you think's the hardest? And then the names get shot in, and there'd be 4 or 5 of you giving different names. He'd be a tough fight for him, or he's the hardest. You know, I think he's the hardest. That title's for someone else to give you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for you to title it, that's fine. You know, it is what it is.
Just a bit of a side one from me, Paul. Do you know if Lee Duffy was alive now, do you think you would have carried on in that life?
If he was alive now, do you think I would have carried on?
Do you think you would have been, like, in spite of, because obviously you looked up to him, so do you think if he was alive now, he would have kind of paved the way? Do you think you would have kind of went for that?
It's funny this, because, you know, I always think, you know, so the way, no, to answer your question, no, I don't think I would have, no, because either way, I was always going to be a drug addict. Either way, my life was going to decline. My health, my physical stance, the way I was looking, was always going to decline because of drugs. You know, so I believe I was always going to end up in prison or dead, but I was always going to end up my journey was always going to be end up the same, because by the time I'd either got to prison, that was going to be my life, either in and out of there, life in there, or I was going to get out and change and become the person I always become, which is who I am today. But I always think if Lee Duffy was alive, I think he would be doing what I do. I always
Do you
try
reckon,
and
do you reckon he'd be on podcasts?
I'd like to think so, yeah. That's my positive outlook, because I think they either die or they change.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
right,
That's how I think. They either die or they get out and they change and they realise, you know what, I'm going to end up dying here. But I always look at it like, so from what I know about Lee Duffy's story, he was on a decline like I was. He was 27-year-old, heavy drug user. His physical, the way he was looking was declining. He was rumour had it he was smoking, he was sniffing heavily, he was using every day, and he was looking thin and unhealthy. And I'd like to think that he was either ended up the way he did, or if he didn't want to, address his problems, his issues, either through prison or through, I can't use drugs no more. I can't drink no more. And either become a professional fighter, because he was only 27, either become a professional fighter, start earning decent money, or change and maybe try to help people from that life. That's how I always try and look at it, Brad Cockrell's doing the same now. Brad Cockrell's doing his talking, and he's talking about God, he's talking about this, he's half saying that, that life's not good. Imagine if Lee was still here and he was doing that. Imagine the input he would have on people's lives.
What's your relationship with Bri? Because I know a couple of people said you're like another version of Bri in the comments. So What's your relationship with Bri? Do you have one at all?
I did have at one point, I do respect the man. I do respect him. He was a tough man. People always ask me, was Brian, was the artist, was he this, was that? No, he wasn't. Without sounding really disrespectful, I don't believe most of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, but I believe what I've been told. He was a big, strong, hard man, who was considered one of the hardest in Middlesbrough, and he was Lee Duffy's right-hand man for not as long as he says, but he was at one point, without delving right into it, how I really feel around it, without really disrespecting him.
Yeah, of course.
I'll just tell you, there is no relationship, but I do respect, the change that he's trying to do, and yeah, that's as far as it goes with me and Brian.
Because I don't know him. I've never met him. He seems like a nice guy to me.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen online and stuff like that, the stories I've heard, I've never heard anything negative. So that's why I thought I'd ask you your relationship on Bri there. Someone commented saying, I like Paul, a lad trying to better his life. Nobody can deny anyone that. And I think that the reason I kept that comment in there, I know it's not a negative one, and other viewers probably want to say the negative ones and how you'd respond to it, but I know personally, and I want the viewers to actually know this, because I know personally I've had messages since that last podcast saying that you've actually saved their life. So regardless of any of the messages that or any of the comments that have been put on there, I've actually had, on multiple occasions, I'll say, not just the one, Paul Venis has actually saved my life. So you're obviously doing something in some way that people don't even see when you're actually saving lives. Yeah. Is this something you go out your way to do? Do you actually try and help people?
So that was my main focus. When you asked me earlier on before we started this conversation, why did you start social media? I was retired from fighting. My plans weren't ever to fight again. So when I got into social media, I decided that I was going to break my own anonymity. I was going to tell people I was a recovering addict, because what I talk about when I talk about recovery, Narcotics Anonymous, it's anonymity, it's anonymous, So I broke my own anonymity and I decided to talk about it. I decided to make people aware that there's a 12-step program out there that can set you free from active addiction. That was my goal, Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ died for us on a cross. This was my goal. This is what I want to do, and I want to tell people, what type of person I was, and what type of person I am now, and the reason why I am who I am today. The reason why I've had the courage to change, the reason why I've got the life that I have today. Even before fighting, I was. I'd become employable. I was earning money. I had my wife by my side. I had my 3 kids in my life. All this was, was almost gone because of that active addiction. And I was sitting with all this intact, with all this in my life because of recovery. And I thought, wow, people need to know about this. So that's when I decided to come on YouTube and, Instagram and start talking about how I changed, what's helping me, how I stay clean, how I come to believe in God. And that's what my journey was like for the first year or two on social media. And I did get stick for it. I was getting people targeting me. I was getting people, calling me grass or saying I was a wrong and no, I was this and that, the other. But every now and again, when I started to doubt myself, when I decided, what am I doing this for? I don't deserve this, because I couldn't understand why people didn't like me. I started feeling sorry for myself and all sorts, because I thought, wow, I'm not hurting no one, I'm trying to help you. Why are people disliking me? Why are people hating on me? Then I thought, every time I got to a position of like, I'm getting a bit sick of this, bang, be a message. Just wanted you to know that what you've just said on that video there, you know, just give me a new lease of life. You know, I was getting so many messages of people, you know, asking to chat to me because they don't know where to turn to, you know. And before you know it, I was making some real good friends who you know, some of them are in recovery now. Some of them are like 3 and 4 or 5 years clean.
That's why when you look at these negative comments, mate, like
that's why I'm still here, bro.
That's what I mean, mate. Like it doesn't. You get a million negative comments.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Because one positive or one person who's actually changed your life. And like I say, we've got the proof. It's happened. So it's like it's all worth it. Doesn't matter. So bring them on. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
Exactly that, mate. Because every time doubt set in for me, every time I thought I shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have done this. You know, I'm getting a bit of stick that for now saying that, you know, kid, or you know, oh, you done that scumbag, robbing people, or you rat, you this, you that. Next thing you know, someone will message me and go, anonymous at first, most of them were, and they'll go, look, bro, like, I watched your video last week and I was very close to ending it. You know, and you've given me hope, you've given me faith. I want to know about God. I want to know about recovery. Can you tell me a bit about it? And I'm like, yeah, sound. And I would just leave them voice messages, or sometimes I would even FaceTime them.
It's unbelievable.
You know, when they got to, when I'd say, look, if you want to chat, you can talk to me. And before you know it, I was even talking to them, FaceTiming them. You know, 9 times out of 10, you don't, like, people who reach out to you. You know, just say if I get 10 people reach out to me in a week, 9 of them will dwindle away and I'll never know what's happening to them. I'll carry the message to them. I'll tell them what works for me. They'll ask the question. I'll tell them what works for me. That's it. You sometimes don't hear back from them. But there's always that one person that'll go, bro, I'm clean. Bro, this is because of you, this. Like, bro, I'm this, I'm that, I'm here, I'm there. You know, and I end up friends with these people.
You almost feel like you went through that journey just to help these people. In a way, you've almost been a guinea pig there. You've had to live that life where you've been involved in all types of madness to get to this point to save a life.
Well, I shared on the last podcast, didn't I, about, you know, me wanting to take my own life and almost succeeding. You know, and I never understood why. You know, I know lads who've... Mate, I've been partying with people, you know, and we've shared a couple of tablets and we've went to sleep, you know, in the same house, and I've woke up and this person hasn't. You know, he's I took exactly the same as him. I'm thinking, whoa, what's going on? You know, people, I fell on one set, he's from the other. I've woke up, he never. And I'm thinking, wow, we've been...
Does that actually happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know when you said about, like, the artist people in the north, right, and that conversation, that title of the last podcast, you know when you said you'd gone to kitchens till 3 a.m. doing X, Y, and Z, right? And people would chuck names in the hat for being the artist. What names would you chuck in the hat?
What names?
Aye. Who do you think are the artist men?
For me, the most... do you know what? I'm not going to mention no names because even though I'm friends with all of them, all the known fighters in the Middlesbrough area now, you know, 1 or 2 of them have actually messaged me and said, look, don't mention my name again.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
fair,
So I won't. Yeah. But I don't think he'll have a problem if I mention his name. The person I was most worried about, like facing and fighting, but I would have always met him and I would have always done it, was Liam Hartley. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, you'll see people mention him in the comments all the time. You know, for me, he was the boyo, Liam. You know, while I was playing football and taking drugs, he was trained. He was a fighter. He was honest, MMA, boxing for GB. He was the man. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But man in his name were getting shot in the hat around, as well as a few others, you know, which I won't mention. Mm-hmm. You know, but there wasn't just me and him. There was you know yourself, mate. North East breeds tough, hard men. You know, I'm friends with Liam now. You know, I've got tremendous respect for Liam. Mm-hmm. Liam's doing really well in life. You know, he's changed like myself. You know, that's why I don't mind mentioning it. I'm pretty sure he won't have a problem with me mentioning him either. But I think he was in my art of arts, I think he probably was the only person I thought, yeah, he probably does him. You know, at the time.
Yeah. What's that like? What's that feeling like? You know, when you've got a reputation.
Horrible.
But in your head, you know, like, I reckon he could get the better of me.
Horrible, because, you know, the last thing you need to show is weakness. When you think you're this and you're that, you know, fear is the enemy. You know, and I was so frightened, not just of Liam, but I was so frightened of everything and anything. That's why I become so hectic, so dangerous, so horrible, because I was that frightened of people finding out that I had this fear. You know, it scared me to think that people know that I'm afraid, right? So I would be the most raged one, I'd be the most dangerous, mm-hmm. You know, I would go through someone's door on my own, or I'll do this, I'll do that. You know, I was doing all that mad stuff to show people that, look, I'm not afraid. You know, but I was. You know, I was more afraid than anything. It's the same as fighting now. You know, I do believe that I'm the most dangerous fighter in the UK in bare knuckle boxing because of my fear, because of how frightened I am. You know, all the way through camp, that fear drives me. You know, as me running at 5 o'clock in the morning, as me doing that extra mile or two faster than the last time. You know, it'll have me sparring against the best and holding my own against the best. It'll have me doing that extra 10 rounds. You know, that's what fear does to me. It drives me. You know, it doesn't render me powerless. It doesn't make me run. It makes me fight.
How old are you now, Paul?
Decline to answer that. I'm 39 this month.
39.
Mate. Yeah,
do you? I'm 34, right? I definitely feel.
I look younger than you, mate.
Do you? But do you feel in terms of fighting or combat sports in general, right? Obviously, hell of a scrapper. You're going on to bigger and better things, which I know about. Does the age play a part in it? Like, do you feel? Although I know you've been probably in a worse physical state in your life, can you feel it as you get out? Do you actually start 100. Thinking like I'm like even this, like, you know, the young'uns who come up in the estates now, the 18, 19, 20-year-olds, do you start thinking, actually, I've got to watch myself? No, I'm not saying you personally, but do you feel that, like, you're not the same man now at that
100%, 100%. You know what, mate, right? Last camp, I struggled with doubt. And, do you know what, mate? I'll be 100% honest with you, yeah? So, I've been hit with bats, I've been hit with hammers, I've been punched on the sneak, I've been bottled. You know, I got hit with a hammer, a big mash hammer, breaks concrete, smacks right in the face, you know, just walking down the road. I never budged. It flashed me, boom. And I'm chasing the lad who had the hammer. You know, nothing. It's like, I always went through this, my fighting career, K1 career, Muay Thai career, not even worried. Scared, frightened, but I was never worried about getting hurt. All I had to do was land. I thought, you can hit me. I used to put my hands down. Oh, where? I couldn't do that now. You know, when I decided to do this bare knuckle stuff, I got back into camp. I did my first ever fight camp, and I'm sparring with lads, and I'm getting wobbled. You know, shots that I'm thinking, fucking hell, boom. My legs are going a little bit. I'm getting flashed. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Goes and spars with Darren Till. First ever time I got dropped. Catches me right at the top of the head here, bump, sits me down. And that was a weird feeling. Such an unnatural, weird feeling for me. To the point where,
you've got to remember, though, someone like Darren Till, he is a trained killer. Do you know what I mean?
It does. Listen, bats and hammers. Do you know what I mean? This is what I was driving home from Liverpool thinking, what just happened there? You know, I've been hit with hammers, I've been hit with bats. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I just been dropped off a punch. And even when I went to get up, my legs were a little bit funny. It took me a minute to go, right, I'm all right. And then I'm walking forward, and then I'm trying to hit him and hit him, you know, and then he's hit me again, and I'm like, wow, if he hits me in the eye, he's going to put me out. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't even he was punching that hard, it was just, Darren Till, it was his timing and his accuracy. You know, that's everything he was. I mean, I was holding my own against him, doing really well. It was just, when I was hitting him, it was more his arms and his body, and, you know, and he was always moving rather than the punches. When he hit me, it was wallop. Like, while I was swinging, he was catching me. Do you know what I'm saying? That was the first experience. Comes home, I has the fight, as a break, as my second camp. So I'm in my second camp, I'm training, you know, I'm sparring against some heavy hitters, some big boxers, big power lads. Gets hit in the top of the head, boom, legs going. And this boxer who I was sparring against, you know, looked at me and went, I'll tell you who it is, you know, big Stevie Robbo.
Aye.
Big, strong,
Aye.
fucking monk strength. What a lovely lad is. Big shout out to Stevie Robbo. Love the lad to bits. Done a lot for me in my camp and stuff. You know, hits me with this big overhand right. And I remember just looking at him and going to walk forward, and I started going sideways. You know, and he went, "Are you all right?" I went, yeah. And I went to walk forward. I took another side step. He went, "No, you're not." I went, "No, I'm not." And then that it done something to me. Do you know what I mean? It really worried me. And then I remember coming home, and I was talking. I just thinking, I don't know what's going on here. You know, Mark, my coach, was like, "Look, you're doing a weight cut, and it's this and it's that." And, you know, and I spoke to my friend and brother, Paul Truscott. You know, Paul Truscott, former Commonwealth title holder, brilliant lad, one of my best friends. Rings him and I says, "Yeah, I'm fucking getting at you." He went, "What's you, you old bastard? You're getting old. You're getting on. You know, your punch resistance is not as good as what it used to be. You know, now I know I can take a good shot because I still take them. I still get walloped. You know, I'm still take a good shot, but it's just a little bit different now. You know, So to answer your question, it's definitely taken a toll. Yeah, because back in the day, they never fucking hurt.
Next comment, mate. Someone said he's a white collar fighter. He's never fought any in any good organisation, he's an absolute weapon.
Do you know what? I was a white collar fighter, and I'm a fucking proud white collar fighter. Britain's hardest dormant, brother. Don't you forget that. Don't be coming at me for that. Oh, but do you know what? Proud of that. And I beat a guy called Wes Smith, the Viking Slayer. Wes Smith, hard as nails, tough, strong, a big hitter. Do you know what I mean? I beat him.
Do you reckon there's a good chance, like that person who's wrote that comment probably's never fought before?
I think there's a good chance he's probably sat in his mum's basement, never seen a woman naked, never swung a punch in his life. But we could be wrong.
Next one, mate. This guy is not the hardest man in the north of Middlesbrough. He fears loads of people. He's just good at public relations and playing a character.
Just told you about my fear, mate. Do I need to answer that?
Nah, let's move on. Again, stop lying. He's never been the toughest anywhere. We've established that. I like Paul, a lad trying to better his life. Nobody can deny that.
See, that there, I mean, look, call it what you want, gratification, doing videos for likes, call it what you want. It's all I ask for. People to see that I'm not a bad lad, that I have wet my socks off to change. I know what I was. I was a wretch to society. I was your typical scumbag. I was your typical drug addict, opportunist, liar, manipulator. I was all them. That's what I was. And that comment there means the world to me because that's all I'm trying to be. A changed man who's trying to better himself, who's trying to be a good dad, a good husband, a good brother, a good friend. That's all I want to be.
That's what I'm saying. I tell you this on the podcast, on the first podcast. You can see that. Like even when I pulled up here today, I seen how you are in your own community. Do you know what I mean? You're a good lad. People know you're laughing, you're cracking, you're always cracking jokes. You're probably sprinkling a bit of positivity in everyone's day you meet. Do you know what I mean? It's the people who don't know you and hear about the stories. It's them people. But again, mate, it's like we're all going to get comments. It is what it is. Like,
do you know what it is, mate? I don't blame them, mate, because I still get people now, who's only ever heard of me, you're actually a good lad, you. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am. But I never ever... And, do you know one of the ones that sticks out to me? Back in the day when I become a K1 fighter and I was fighting at NE6 Suite in Newcastle, and I fought one of Mick Terrell's lads called James Cannon, another undefeated fighter, tough lad. James Cannon was a beast. And I fought a lad called James Cannon, and he was whooping my ass, but I was just taking shots all day long. Bump, caught him, stopped him. Big shout out to James Cannon if he ever watches this. And I remember talking to Mick Terrell in the changing rooms and that, and I was having a conversation with him, talking to him, dead respectful, talking to James and that. And he went, "You're actually all right, you aren't you?" Do you know what I mean? And he said it to me a couple of years later, and he says, "I always remember, hearing about this Venis, and he was knocking everyone out, and he was this in his town, he was that, he was this, and he just got out of jail." And I thought, "Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to meet him." And he says, and how respectful you were, and you were a proper genuine kid, proper sound, proper nice lad. And I thought that means the world to me, that Mick, because the fact that you're a fighter, I'm a fighter. I'm trying to become something that you are, Mick. Mick's never been a rogue, never been a bad lad, but he's the baddest man on the planet. Do you know what I mean? At this moment in time, and I've always looked up to Mick. I've always, there's once upon a time we were meant to fight, me and Mick in K1 kickboxing, and I've had hundreds of people say that to me. But it's nice when people recognise, that the change, and what, this kid's not a bad lad. From what I've heard and from what I was expecting, nah, that's not good. Like, he's actually all right, and stuff like that sticks with me because I think I'm glad that people know that. I'm glad noticing that.
And I think that's the beauty about these podcasts, so Paul. Like, you've got an opportunity to get people that understand you a bit more and change that opinion. You know what I mean? I think that's the beauty about it, mate. How many people will have heard about you? Yeah. But then, and like what you just said, but then they meet you or they'll listen to your podcast. Like, as much as we're talking about the negative comments. Yeah. I'm talking about the negative comments because people want to say that type of shit. But at the same time, there's just as much positive comments. Do you know what I mean? So that's always going to happen. I'll finish off on the last one. In fact, no, I've got two more. The next one is great podcast. It was good to see that side of Paul where he's always open and why he was the way he was. A lot of people online speak badly of Paul, but if you listen to his story and what he's actually saying, you'll hear the remorse and shame in his voice. Anyway, the comment goes on. Do you truly have remorse for your past?
Yeah. I hate podcasts. I've shared with this in private. I suffer bad after doing podcasts. You know, I never watch them back. You know, I refuse a lot of podcasts. I'll knock a lot back. You know, I put them off. You know, I shouldn't really say this because they're going to think I'm a bit of a dick. You know, but I'll ignore them. I'll take weeks to get back to them. You know, I can't help it. It's not me being ignorant or being a dick. It's because I can't explain it how deep this goes for me. You know, when I was living that life, you know, when I was a wretch to society, you know, it almost killed me. You know, I hated who I was. You know, not just because of the people, because I was a terrible dad. You know, I neglected my kids. I stepped over my kids to get what I needed. I stepped over them, you know, to get a line of coke or to get a pipe. You know, I cheated on my wife. You know, I left my wife and kids, you know, because of that life.
Right, mate. That time, mate.
So when I say like how deep rooted it is for me, you know, the things that I did, I fucking hate reliving it. Like I hate it. You know, the positive side of stuff is because I know what people need to hear, like how I changed, and people are still out there living this life. So the things that I had to do to change and to better myself, you know, and to become a good dad and a good husband, you know, that's your point to tell you how I become this person, you know. But when I say after these podcasts, you know, not so much yours. Felt good after yours, you know. I did feel down last time, but it's deep rooted in me, mate. Like I don't know what goes on. I really feel down and depressed, you know, and I obsess around not being here no more. You know, I obsess around taking my own life. But that can come any given day. It's not just called a podcast, but podcasts set it off. And if I can help it, I don't want to set them thoughts off. I don't want to set that obsession off. You know, I can wake up in the morning, it can be on me. You know, the thought of not wanting to be here no more, the thought of just ending it because of my past or because I think I'm a worthless piece of shit. Even though today I try my hardest not to be, even though 9 times out of 10, most days when I look in the mirror, I like what's looking back. I'm comfortable in my skin, but there's still something deep in me that can resurface any given day and go, you piece of shit. You know, I feel fat, I feel ugly. You know, I suffer with low self-esteem, low self-worth, and then it makes me not want to be here. And I don't know what it is. I don't know know where it comes from. I do know because I've done the writing on it. You know, I just believe I was born with a screw loose.
But everyone's individual. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's gonna have.
Totally agree.
They've got their own things. Do you know what I mean? And if that's the way you are, it doesn't necessarily mean it's got to be the reason you do something drastic, mate. Obviously, look, everyone needs you here. You know what I mean? You didn't want to be gone down that route in life, mate. People need you.
100%. What did I say to you? I says to you, I don't ever believe that I will take my own life. But to think about it's bad enough. I know loads of people who think, wonder what it'd be like to jump off this bridge. Wonder what it'd be like when you stood high and you're looking down, you think, that feeling of falling or jumping. Wonder what it'd be like. Mine's not just a feeling, not just a thought. It becomes an obsession.
Do people know this round you?
Yeah.
So do you feel, are they constantly stepping on eggshells? Do you think round you because it's like what if he does something daft?
My poor wife does, yeah. Yeah. You know, like we can have a stupid argument over the pots. And next thing you know, I'm isolating.
You're like, you didn't put the kettle on, that's it, I'm out.
It can be mad, you know what I mean? My poor wife, you know, Sammy Venis, my wife. My wife is my rock. She is everything in this family because, like, bless her, like, she can say something to me and she's 100% right, you know, over something that I haven't done. And my narcissistic trait can come out and go, pull me. Why'd you say that to me? It's only fucking pots. What's up with you? But I forget she's doing the washing. She's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing it. Because I'll go out and fight and train and I'm a breadwinner, I'm tired. I don't have to hoover, I don't have to pot. I do all these things, but some days this can come on me. And something so small can have me laid in that bed, isolating, door closed, not wanting to speak to no one. Obsessing about how to end it. I don't want to be here, just over something so small. Do you know what I mean? And being too afraid to tell my wife how I'm really feeling, because she'll either think, fucking man up, it's only fucking possible, only daft argument, or she'll worry herself sick.
Yeah, so it's almost like you just keep it to yourself a bit.
Yeah.
Because I think, and this is why I appreciate you coming on, mate, I really do, because you told us off camera that you didn't like doing podcasts, so obviously I can vouch for that. You've actually said that anyway. But I think viewers are going to ask, you turned down a lot of podcasts, why did you come on this one?
Yeah.
What is the reason why you chose to come on this one?
The reason do you know what? The reason why I chose to do this, I had this exact same feeling the first one. You know, I was ignorant to your messages for a while, a couple of days. You know, I had the exact same feeling the first one. I was looking forward to doing the second one because of how good the first one was. You know, I appreciate every single podcast that I've been on. Have I enjoyed them all? No. Do I enjoy them? No. But I enjoyed the James English one. He connected with me. He spoke to me. I felt like he didn't just ask the questions and just say he understood. I felt like he'd been there and done it and got the T-shirt, understood it. You know, and I feel like that from you as well. You know, I feel like I get that from you. You know, it's not just about going, oh yeah, I get it. It's like you haven't even said it. I get it. I can just see in your eyes, and you're looking at me and going, yeah. Because I feel like we're from different towns, but from the same council estate.
I see. That's
the same shit.
And it's the northeast, mate, and it's almost like everyone knows the crack. Everyone knows the city. We've all got similar stories. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone obviously got different past, but people have got different. We all know what goes on council estates. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a mutual, exactly, mate.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, mate. The last one, someone said, biggest grass in the north. Ask anybody.
Yeah.
That's the last one. Not do you need more? What you got to say to that?
Do you know what, mate? I'll tell you. I'll say exactly what I says to my son. Yeah. So my son seen the spray paint. Venis of grass. You know, you've got to understand the type of people that are doing that. 2:00 in the morning, creeping around, spray painting on walls, because they're going to come to me and go, "You're a grass, you."
Yeah.
Because I probably would hit him. You know, I probably would. You know, I didn't become a Christian to be a pushover. You know, I'm not a mong. I'm not a divvy. No one's going to come and insult me to my face. You know, unless you're a tiny little woman and whatever. I'll throttle you. I will stand up for myself. You know, a grass is someone who tells tales to save their own skin. That's a grass. You know, a grass is someone who's committing crime and talks to the police for a blue gyro, for money, you know, or to get out of a sentence themselves. I've never, ever once on my kids' lives, on the Holy Bible, Jesus is my witness, has ever done that. Every interview I've been in with the police, not that I need to say this, no comment.
Yeah.
You know, I've never.
Where do you think it comes from? Do you think it's just?
Me personally, I think it's from talking online, doing podcasts. You know, being a reinformed character, incriminating myself, talking. You know, shit like that.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
Do you ever, I know you don't incriminate yourself, because again, you know, anything that there is to know about you, you've said it anyway, but
yeah.
Do you ever fear that when you go on a podcast? Do you ever think like, oh, this might bite us in the arse?
No, I don't care. I don't care. You know, no one's got any reason to be pissed off or have a problem with me unless you just downright just don't like the way I look or don't like me, or I've done something bad to you in the past. Now, I've done a lot of things bad in the past to a lot of people, but if I was still living that way and still doing the things that I was doing, fair play, come get me. But, you know, all I can do is try and make amends. You know, I can try and show these people, look, like, I'm not in that life no more. I don't do anything like that. If I've done anything bad to you, from my bottom of my heart, and I mean this, you know, I am so sorry. You know, I wish I never did that. In fact, you know, some of that stuff that I did, you know, can still cause me sleepless nights. That's the type of shit I obsess around that causes me not to want to be here no more. You know, so I wish I never did that.
So, I know obviously, I did ask you on the last podcast, what's the worst thing you've done? And I know you said obviously putting your family through what you did.
Yeah.
And I appreciate how vulnerable you were in telling that story, because again, it showed me another side to you. You know, that as much as the shit you've done, you also regret, and you can say that anyway. Anyone can watch the first podcast to say that. But outside of your family and without names, places, what do you think is the worst thing you've actually done to someone?
There's a lot of things that, for example, yeah. So I don't sleep very well. I don't sleep very well, and I don't take no medication to sleep. You know, I do all the natural stuff, you know, CBD oil and, you know, herbal remedies, She Legit, all that stuff that's meant to help you get to sleep, you know what I mean? Now I've got to have white noise in the background. You know, Friends, the programme,
yeah.
You know, I can watch that with my eyes closed. As long as that's on in the background, I can just listen to that with my eyes closed. Sometimes I'll even be going, listen to it. I'm falling asleep. If I'm laid in a dark room, there's nothing on whatsoever, my mind will become like spaghetti junction. And the stuff that pops in my head is the stuff that I forgot about. But like, man, when you did this to him, going through someone's door, knowing that he's a known dealer, going through his door, and he's sat in that settee with his kids, but if he's got 20 grand upstairs, I still want it. There's a kid there, but I still want this 20 grand, mate. Go get it. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of shit that really fucking turns me. Yeah. The worst thing I've ever done is when I've hurt civilians. Like, when I say civilians, I mean people who don't commit crime, people who are normal people. And I've done this a couple of times, which really, 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 I'll do anything I can to make amends for this. People who draw money out the wall, just running behind and grabbing them. Get the full amount out.
I don't know why. That's not funny. That's not, what are you laughing at? I don't know. It's not funny. It's terrifying. Because I imagine you doing that.
It is. But that stuff really, really.
Get the money out. It's the way you did it.
Yeah, but I've done that a few times. Bro.
Do you often find, in them scenarios, do you often find that people comply when they see you? Or do you get people who are... Because, I'm no pushover, mate, but if some big bloke like yourself come up and was like, gives you... I'd rather just give you it's money.
Yeah.
I'll just make more money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't have an attachment to that.
Gratefully, that I never did it all the time. I must have done it a handful of times. And every person I did grab, and it was never like a woman or anything like that, or a child or anything. It was always like a bloke or a young lad. They would always just give me the money. Do you know what I mean? But I dare say if they put a fight up, I might kill them.
Was that how much you wanted that money?
Yeah, because I was at the end of my using as well, flat out on the crack, no other option, but had to have another pipe, and I'd have fucking killed for another pipe. Do you know what I mean? That's where my drug addiction, that's how deep my addiction got. I know it's hard to see now. Do you know what I mean?
It's crazy that though, because obviously I've seen you in the gym, and I've seen the things you do, and it's hard to picture the bloke who do that desperate.
3 or 4 or 5 days a week, walk on the streets, fucking robbing bikes out of gardens and all that. Done all that. Do you know what I mean? Bagel houses. Done all that.
Have you ever came into contact with someone who you've, harmed in the past?
Yeah.
Or have you ever do you not shit yourself thinking? Because obviously, I'm not saying shit yourself as in fear, but because you're a changed man, almost like looking, shit, that was me back then, and now there they are. And
I bumped into. Do you know what it is? I'm very, very, very grateful that most of the people that I've bumped into have forgiven me. I've don't worry, them. I forgive you. Do you know what I mean? This is all I want. Like, don't worry. We understand what you're going through. Don't worry. There was one person who never, and I just wanted him to kill me there, stone dead, just so he could forgive me, because that was the hardest thing. Having to walk away. He's like, nah, I don't forgive you. No, never will. Don't. Bye. Don't ever see you again. No. Put me hand up. I'm so sorry, mate. No, don't ever see. And I met him while I had my kids with me. A couple of years ago, I had my kids, we were in a play area, and I walked up, how you doing, bro? He went, no, talk to me, mate. I was like, bro, look, I'm fucking sorry. He was like, nah, but look, man, get away. I've got my kids, you've got your kids. I went, all I just want forgiveness, mate. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll never forgive you. Move.
I can't blame him though.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, because I couldn't forgive. I don't think I could just forgive that.
If we'd have been in a quieter place,
yeah,
and we never had our kids, I'd have been on my knees kissing his shoes, begging him. Truth. I want to take my knees down then in this area. I want to go, oh, please, I'm sorry. I want to take my knees. I'd have been very happy if he'd just got a knife up and stuck it right in my neck. And just went, now I'll forgive you, die. I'd have been like, I'll die, no problem. That's how badly I wanted forgiveness. That's how badly I wanted it.
So you think you've got most forgiveness out of most people?
Yeah.
So it's just that occasion really where you think, you know what, like... Paul, obviously you're a married man now.
Yes.
You've just been away and got married and stuff. How is it? How is it to be married?
Just the same, man. Just the same. Very proud to call because I've always called my wife, my missus. I've always called her the wife. I've been with her nearly 25 years, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what? I think when I started calling my wife on social media, people going, are you married? Like, I went, no, I'm married. She's not your fucking wife then. No, in the comment section and that. So now I'm like, my wife.
Aye, because when you said it earlier, you seemed proud.
Yeah.
And you
I am.
called her Venice, you know what I mean?
am.
It was nice to see that. Like, I could see it in your eyes. It was a bit
Been
like...
with us since school, mate. Been with us since school. Like, this woman, like...
How she
is the
put
woman
up,
of all
how
women.
she put up with you?
I'm just about to say, she's the woman of all women, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, every one of her friends and anyone around her would be saying, what the fuck are you doing with this lunatic? Like, get rid. And she never, do you know what I mean? She never ever did. She always kept the door open to me. She's always been there for me. You know, yeah, man.
Got something special there, mate. That's unbelievable.
100%.
It's unbelievable, that. I want to touch on prison, mate.
Right.
And the reason I want to touch on that, I don't think we really, like, sort of got into that. When you were in prison, how did you, because obviously, again, you went from drugs. Did you go to prison at the end of your drug use?
Yeah.
Or was it through it?
No, it was right at the end of my drug use.
So how was it when you were in prison? Like, dealing with that, or were you just on the drugs in prison?
I was on the drugs in prison for half most of my sentence, for the first half of my sentence. And fucking hell, the first couple of weeks I went in, I just didn't know what to expect. I was thinking, right, I'm going to have some big trying to pinch me kit and custard. You know, I'm going to.
Did you go in with the mindset of just trying to
muscle everyone?
Was that the crack?
What
did you go down for? What was that?
Firearms.
Firearms.
It was a replica. Like
Yes, you did say that.
They're only fucking at you if I flung it at you, but it was what I did with it. And that, do you know what I mean? The things that I did with it, and the stuff that I was doing with it, and yeah, I was fucking going mental with it.
And mentally, were you okay?
In prison?
Aye.
No, not for a while. No, not for the first few weeks, mate. No, I was broken, really broken, because I was in a place that I thought I'd never end up. Don't ask me why I never thought I'd end up in prison, but I just thought I wouldn't. You know, and here I am, sat in fucking prison, staring down a 9-year sentence. That's what I was getting told I was getting. 9 year.
Where did you go?
Home house. I was getting told I was getting 9 year. Fucking judge was telling me he was going to give me 9 year for my reputation alone, and I'm an underground fucking street fighter. We know all about you. You know, this, that, the other. I've got a funny story. So I'm on remand, going through with the prison sentence, and I blew the socks off myself, you know, on the phone, in the fucking, I was off my nut. So I'm on the prison phone. Babe, I've got the gun that I had on me, and yeah, I did this, I did that. She's going, fucking shut up now. And I'm like, I fucking went through his door and I did this, and I was gonna shoot your dad, and I was gonna shoot her dad and everything. Do you know what I mean? Fucking. Anyway, I grasped myself up on the phone like a monk. Couldn't remember. My solicitor tried to get it overturned because he was like, he didn't know what he was talking about. He was out of his nut. But they were like, nah, we've got to bang on. So I just went guilty straight away. So when I went guilty, all the people who were locked up with me in the car, they all got out. So I'm goes to court, you know, for my guilty plea, and this judge just went. The solicitor was like, "Oh, he's going guilty straight away, so that'll be 20% off." Bloody. He went, "Listen, this menace to society is getting nailed. You know, he's getting 9 year. Like we're looking at, he's getting hammered. Do you know what I mean? Like he's a menace to society. We know all about him. You know, he's underground." Fighter, heavily involved in dealing and this, but they couldn't pin that on me. We know all about him. The judge went in on me, bad. I was thinking, fuck, I don't believe this. I got a fucking toy gun here. What's going on? You know, goes back. Solicitor comes to see me a couple of weeks later, and he's like, right, I think I'm going to get you a good deal. Round about, if you go guilty, get 9 year, probably get about 7. I went, what? I said, get out. Get out this room. Go on, beat it. So he goes. This other solicitor comes in, pops his head in. He was called Lals anyway, something Lals. He's called David. I still speak to David now. He's all right, good solicitor. He popped in. He went, "You Paul Venis?" I went, "Yeah." He went, "I reckon I can get you 5 year." I went, "I'm in, sit down." So he comes in, sits down. He went, "Mate, is this your stuff?" He said, "I've just been reading through it." He went, "He just told you 9 year." He went, "Yeah." He went, "Look, you've gone guilty straight away." I went, "Yeah." He went, "I'll get you 5. I went, "Even that's too much, mate." He went, "What do you want? This solicitor this judge can't stand you." I went, "Oh, fuck it. It is what it is. Nice to meet you." Anyway, it goes back about 6-7 months later. There comes and gets me, goes to take me down. Anyway, I was getting seen at 10:30, getting sentenced at 10:30. So my solicitor comes. He goes, "Might have some good news here." I said, "What do you mean?" He went, "Well, it could be good, could be bad. I don't know. I'm not sure." I went, "Well, go on, tell me." He went, "That solicitor that can't stand you is phoned in sick. He's not coming."
What a touch.
He's not coming in. Right. He went, "Bad thing is you're here all day." You know what I mean? So I was in these little cells until 5 o'clock. That was the last. This judge had put me back to the very last one to be seen. But he had like 6 hours to go through all my stuff. So it goes down. And he went, Mr. Venis, stand up. I stand up, he goes, I think you're a man that's being targeted a lot. You know, house is being shot at, Osman rules, you know, threats to life, you know, just a bit of a fighter. You know, can see you've been getting yourself into a bit of trouble through fighting and that. He says, but arming yourself wasn't, I believe you've armed yourself because you were frightened. You were in fear. Your house has been shot at the day before. I'm going to give you 5 year, 20% off free year. Give me free year. I was like, whee!
What did you do?
What a touch.
1 off.
All of a sudden, like this judge I was getting screwed. I was going to be walking away with about 7 year. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? But he reckoned he was just going to have to haggle to get me 5 with this judge. This judge didn't even think twice. He went, I'm going to give him 5 year, 20%. He's gone guilty straight away, so I'm going to knock it down to 3, and I'm going to take his remand time off. Go on.
So what did you do in the end? How long?
I did a year and a half.
Is that the only time you've been in and all?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, that like. Was it any other? So
it went down as I got 5 year. Do you know what I mean?
Did you get any close scrapes like that could have ended you back in there? Did anything else kick off? Like
when I got out, just failing drug tests. You know, when I got out was for about a year. It was an uphill battle. You know, with addiction. Once I got out the hostel, and it was like, excuse me. Once I got out the hostel, that's when I thought, right. I delved into recovery. I started finding my feet with God. I went into Impact Martial Arts, the gym, and just life took off from there.
Paul, I want to talk about YouTube. And the reason I want to bring YouTube, obviously, we're on YouTube, but obviously you like to post a video yourself. I watch your content.
Thank you.
And I love to see anybody creating and putting things out there, regardless of what they're doing. I think it's class. I think it's a form of entertainment. It's a form of education. People, I see people training. I mean, sometimes when you might do a video, I had Josh Kelly on the podcast, and I actually said to Josh, when you post things on Instagram and stuff, sometimes I'll be parked outside the gym. You know, when you're parked outside the gym, you think, I can be asked to do this session. Yeah. And you just see one thing, you're like, I need to get my head in this, like, and get in. And you'll do the same. So when I watch bits of your content, I'm like, I need to get in that gym. Like, he's training hard and that. Do you do YouTube from a business point of view? Or do you do it, like, I know there's helping people off the back of it.
Yeah.
But surely you can't just wake up every morning and want to help people. Like,
no.
Do you see YouTube as a business? Because I know obviously there's the corner of YouTube, which is all the beef and all that. And obviously I've seen you're in different beefs and talking about different things and all that.
Yeah.
Do you do it, is it like intentional? Because I think a lot of people watch your content and think, why is he bringing him up? Or why is he... Do you do it with that purpose?
So I have been drawn out with arguments and beef. And every time I've been drawn out, I've been deadly serious with what I say. You know, like, I instead of having this back and forth, let's meet up and let's fight. You know, when I started to earn off the back of it, you know, I'd be lying if I said a bit of me never changed. Like, not personality-wise, but as a business-wise. You know, I thought, oh, wow, this is getting a bit of traction here, doing a bit of numbers here. You know, I was quit off YouTube just for arguing with him. So I'm bringing it on. But I was deadly serious. I would much rather nip it in the bud because, you know, again, like, I suffer with obsession, you know, mental health shit, to the point where someone will live in my head rent-free. You know, and every time I've had an argument, I don't mind mentioning these, the clowns anyway, Decareggi, Brett May, you know, these two really got inside my head to the point where when I was making videos and moving away, I'm walking up and down the front room, I'm shadowboxing, I'm thinking, I'll punch his fucking head in. You know, I'll do this to him, I'll do that to him. Now I'm on the phone, I'm ringing everyone, see what he's just said there. Yeah, should we go through? Yeah, I'm gonna snap his face and you try and get in touch with him, arrange a fight with me. And that was my life. That was how my life was going whilst this rift with Deca was going on. I really wanted to get my hands on him. You know, but on the other side of things, I was seeing how much money was getting made on YouTube, and I was like, right, the main priority was to punch his head in, but someone's filming it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Same with Brett. I wanted to really punch his head in, got inside my head, having a back and forth. You know, now I think my sanity and my peace is worth a lot more than what I was earning on YouTube. You know, you've just asked me there, the business side of things. Of course, yeah. Maybe like, I got into YouTube not for money. We only keep what we have by giving it away, i.e. the recovery stuff and the mental health stuff. You know, if you look on my YouTube now, I hardly talk about mental health and recovery on there now. I do it on Instagram and TikTok. Because YouTube is a very vile, sick place, as we've seen. You know, you can get away with a lot more on YouTube. People can call you out. People can build a channel off the back of your content, calling you a druggie or a whatever they want to call you, and they can add their identity, and they can monetize their channel off the back of that. You couldn't do it on TikTok or Instagram. So I sort of stepped away to keep myself safe. I stopped getting vulnerable on there. The vulnerability and the insecurities you show on YouTube will be targeted. They can't do it on TikTok and Instagram because you get banned. I've lost TikTok accounts for calling people sausage. Do you know what I mean? I have. Where YouTube, you get away with murder on there. So if you watch my YouTube content now, I keep it for the BKFC content or the pads or.
Do you worry though, Paul? Like, because when I say all this YouTube beef and all that, sometimes I'll look at that and go, I might see a video, I'm like, oh, what a fucking idiot for saying that. Because surely you cannot just be calling people out and going to scrap them in the middle of the street. Like, or not the middle of the street, but you know what I mean? Like, surely there's got to be some legal implication with that. So you're not putting yourself at the best light. Sometimes that's what I would say. Some of the stuff I've seen you say, I'm like, fucking hell, I wouldn't have said that. But then at the same time, I'm sitting there fucking loving it because I'm enjoying the content.
You know this, right? So YouTube, business-wise, I'll do 50, 60k views when I'm arguing with someone. Saying what I'll do to someone if we ever meet face to face. But then I'll talk about BKFC or Joshua Dubois fight, or I'll talk about recovery, addiction, mental health. I'll be lucky to do 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 views. But the moment you start talking about, I'll punch his head in. My reply to Dekaregi, my reply to him. You look at the numbers it does because people are addicted to drama, to chew. To frisk, to arguments on YouTube, and I'm guilty of it myself.
Do you consume that type of content? No. Like, do you like getting involved with it all? Like having a bit of neb what's going on?
At one point, yeah. But where it brother, like, look, like I'm doing my best now to keep because YouTube did play. I stepped away from it. I come away from YouTube at one point. I spent nearly a year away from it. I got demonetized and everything.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. But this time I come back now. This is where I've come back now, where no troll could ever affect me. Every now and again, I'll go, so's your mum. Do you know, something daft like that. I don't mean it, but something like that. Do you know what I mean? Right. Every now and again. But 9 times out of 10, mate, like, there's not one... I've had people calling my little girl a spastic, calling my wife ugly, and I can't let that shit affect me. For a split second, I'm like, oh, that's a bit harsh. But then I don't get drawn out by it.
Because I think that as well, like, I know that I'll get the odd comment here and there, and I'm like... touch wood, mate, everyone being sound with me, like, and I mean, it's a bit different when you're a host because you're not the one saying them things, so it's a bit different. But when I look at a lot of the people, and we'll get, like I say, it gets a lot of love, and I appreciate everyone who watches the content, even the people who don't appreciate the content. It's like, you're still viewing the comment, you're still viewing the content. But like, I also understand that, like, I'm putting myself out there, so it's my fault. I don't need to. I can come off all socials tomorrow, and it'll never happen again. I could literally stop every negative comment tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So could you. So if I'm going to go on there, I cannot then complain about people comment all they want. Do you know what I mean? All you've got to do is, and I said this to a lad the other day, in fact it was this morning, I said, listen mate, and he's on YouTube, and I said, listen, do things with the right intentions and a good heart. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because if you know in your heart you've got good intentions, you didn't want to burn anyone, didn't piss anyone off, didn't try and be a dickhead, so you've got nothing to worry about.
Mate, I stepped away from YouTube because, I was feeling really hard done by what people were saying. I was buying into the trolling. I was making videos about it. He said this about me, and well, if I ever find out, no, I'm saying shit like that. Threatening idiots on the other corner of you, like on YouTube, just making videos about me to get numbers, and I'm like, you better say sorry now, or I will turn up. I'm thinking, what the fuck do you think you are? Do you know what I mean? So in the end, I come off it. I spent a year away from it. This time around, I've come back now, and I'm thinking, do you know what my channel needs are? Algorithm and all that, which I didn't know about now. The hate, the love, the likes, the no likes, the views, it all matters to your channel. Do you know what I mean? So you love me or hate me, watch, enjoy, don't watch, don't enjoy it. It's up to you. Like, that's not a problem. All I've got to know is that, the thick skin that I developed being away from YouTube, coming back, was it took some practice to get to the point where I am now with YouTube, where, tell you what, I used to drive me over the fucking edge because I used to come across as dead sensitive, like an angry big old fighter who'll punch someone's head in, but dead whingy and sensitive, And it used to piss me right off. People go, and people making videos going, oh, he's too sensitive, he lets people get on this. And it used to fucking piss me off. Of course it doesn't, no one's hitting my fucking face. Do you know what I mean? Right. When now, I thought, you know what, I am a sensitive guy and I'm fucking proud. Yeah. My wife and my kids need a tough, strong, sensitive man. Because that's what I am. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can be sensitive when I need to be. I can be tough. I can be a protector. You know, I can be everything they want to be. I am sensitive and I'm proud. You know, so now when they go, oh, sensitive Venis, I'm like, yeah, I am.
Fair play.
And I like it because that was weakness to me back in the day. You know, being sensitive, being scared. You know, shedding a tear. You know, now I'm sat with my kids crying at Disney films. You know, I'm being that sensitive soul that my kids need. You know, and I think, yeah, I'm a big old sensitive kid, and I love it. I'm fucking proud of it. And I remember coming back to YouTube and someone going, oh, Edie, I jumped on someone's live and they're like, oh, Edie is big sensitive Venis. I went, hey, I'm very sensitive.
So you walk on the set that?
They can't say for call, can they? But that's what I am. It's pointless me going, no. Because I am, do you know what I mean?
Your bare knuckle career.
Yep.
What's the future for Paul Venis? Bare knuckle, where are you going? Where do you want to go? Because I know as well, if people's listened all the way through, and I'm sure they will, because when you're on me, people tend to just listen to the whole thing. But you did say to me, and if I hope I'm wrong, but you did say to me this will be the last podcast you do for a while.
Yeah.
So, because when obviously if you don't do another podcast, this will be the last bit of content someone can see from you on a podcast level. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you actually want? You're 39 now. What do you actually want? Because I want people to look back at this, and I want you to look back at this, Paul, and go, did I achieve that?
Yeah. You know, people always discredit my fighting career. We had it in one of the comments, you know, he was a white-collar fighter. You know, he's never fought on any big platforms or anything like that. You know, even if I never chose to get into BKFC, I'm extremely proud of what I achieved in the white-collar boxing. 12-0 I was. You know, I was 32-0 as a K1 kickboxer, professional K1 kickboxer. Now, I'll openly tell you, I was never fought well-renowned K1 kickboxing. I was never a well-renowned fighter. But I was a British champion. You know, I'd won the 2 British champion belts, the ISK and the WSK. You know, I reached to number 2 in Britain. Really, I was number 1. In my head, I know I was number 1. Because the guy who was number 1 only lost against me. Lucas Probiak. Big shout out to Lucas. You know, I beat Lucas. I stopped him in the first round in K1 kickboxing. That guy was a monster. I beat him. Pretty easy as well. You know, massive respect to Lucas. Brilliant fighter. You know, so even if I never got into the bare knuckle, I'm extremely proud to be telling my grandkids when I'm older, your dad was a good kickboxer. You know, your granddad won a British title. Your granddad had this many fights. You know, even my kids now, you know, my oldest daughter, I'm telling my son, yeah, never lost, mate.
Well, you are a granddad now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right.
I never lost, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I will fucking say that with my chest out, my head will die, regardless if anyone wants to discredit my K1 career, whatever. The BKFC stuff, you know, of course, I'd love to be a champion. Love it, absolutely love it. I just want to make a big bag of money, mate.
Fair enough.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now the only way I'm going to make that big bag of money is by fighting for the belt, fighting the big fights, staying undefeated. That's what I've got to do. You know, if I'm being honest, if someone said you can go fight for that belt there, 50 grand. Or you could go overseas and fight him for 120 grand. I'm going there. Fight for 120 grand. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
That's the fact I'm at now. You know, and one of the biggest eye openers now of being on this journey now that I'm on, you know, is I've told you about my fear. I've told you exactly what I'm like. You know, age waits for no one. You know, getting dropped in camps and stuff like that now. You know, I'm perfectly fine with coming up against my match. I'm perfectly fine with coming up against someone who might hand me that ass whooping. I'll be the first to get up and shake his hand. But laughing all the way to the fucking bank because I'm getting paid for it. Do you know what I mean? The K1 days, I was still holding on to a bit of reputation and a bit of ego.
How mad is it to think, like, is he grandson or granddaughter?
My grandson.
Grandson. How mad is it to think he's going to turn around and say me granddad's in the bare knuckle? Fucking crazy, that, isn't it?
Now, I'll tell you, it is a good title. It is a good title. The hardest granddad in the Northeast.
Oh, we're gone.
There's a title there, mate. Yeah?
Paul, I just want to say to you, mate, thank you so much for coming on. But I also want to say as well, you're and I mean this, mate, I'm not just saying it for the sake of it. You're a good lad, and I really appreciate it because, again, people who are watching this, they don't feel the energy. They don't feel that. They haven't met you. They didn't know that.
Yeah.
The majority of people haven't met you. I've been in the gym. I've watched you. I've had podcasts with you. This is obviously the second one now. Obviously, you said you're not looking to do any more podcasts. So I appreciate your time. Obviously, you invite us down to your home as well. And I know that real dickheads and real arseholes don't conduct themselves the way you do. So I just want to say thank you, mate.
Thank you very much, brother. Much appreciated,
worries,
mate.
mate.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Cheers,
Thank
bro.
you, mate.
Thank you, mate. So you've made it to the end of this one. You're brave. But if you like this episode and you want to see more like this, click here and watch it.